Oliver, cliches are cliches for a reason. And one of my favorites is too many cooks spoils the soup. And Luxottica is putting at least 2 cooks in the kitchen by appointing co-CEOs. Are they making a classic blunder here?
Actually, it's worse than that. It's not just that they're appointing co-chief executives, but there's an executive chairman, the 79-year-old founder who owns 2/3 of the shares. He'll be sitting on top of the co-chief executives, and underneath them there's a chief operating officer as well. So 4 of them in there, all struggling for influence, and it's something that could turn into.
And we don't even know who the second CEO is going to be.
No, one of them is already in place. He's the former CFO, and he's going to be the CEO in charge of finance and the head office.
Right.
And then the other CEO is going to be in charge of markets and distribution and sales. He's still to be appointed, but the one they've already got will be part of the committee that chooses the second one.
So we agree then that this is a hilarious structure that should not be experimented with.
Not necessarily. You look in history, companies have tried and experimented with co-chief executives. It's not always a disaster. Deutsche Bank has had co-chief executives at many points in its past. It does at the moment. SAP has had co-chief executives at several points in its past. It's done pretty well. And BlackBerry had co-chief executives for almost 20 years. It's an interesting example because, yes, it's been a disaster story in recent years, but you can't necessarily blame the co-chief executive model. And of course, it was those 2 co-chief executives who were also responsible for growing this small Canadian company into the must-have piece of business hardware.
Right. So, given the risks, what are we hoping to see from this company?
I think we're hoping to see a pretty swift appointment to whoever the other chief executive will be, but also within a fairly short space of time, some sort of movement towards a more regular structure. This 79-year-old founder isn't going to be around forever, and it would be nice to see some sort of succession plan, some sort of more regular structure coming into place, because putting this in this co-chief executive structure in place for the long term, I think would be quite unnerving.
Yeah, I suppose the worry is that when the company is under stress is exactly when you'll want to have a very simple leadership structure.
Yeah, and that's not the case at the moment. This is not a company under stress at the moment, but you do wonder what would happen if problems occur.
Thanks, Oliver.